Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I want to talk about Donald Trump's frustration. He is completely frustrated in the golden age of America, as he loves to call it. He's frustrated that first Iran would not surrender, would not bow down to him. He thought he would make a massive air show. Israel and Iran would bomb, kill some leaders in the beginning, and that would bring Iran down to its knees. Well, apparently that is not happening. We are now in the 18th night. Oh, well, this is the 20th day of the war is about to begin. Iran is still fighting back, still causing damage to Israel and to American allies. American fatalities, unfortunately, are also rising. America and Israel both are running out of supply. So he's totally frustrated that Iran is fighting back and has not succumbed or disappeared. He thought this would be like Venezuela, and it is not. So that itself has frustrated Donald Trump greatly because he does realize that at some point his brain dead supporters will realize that what he is doing is not America first. What he is doing is not going to help American foreign policy, American interests abroad, nor is it going to essentially improve the condition of Americans who are suffering from a crisis of affordability as well as disappearing benefits of living in the richest economy in the world, declining healthcare, declining quality of life, rising cost of living, etc., etc. So eventually, Trump supporters probably it'll take them a few years, but they'll figure it out that none of these policies have improved their condition at all. And then he realizes that it'll begin to hurt him. It could even hurt him as early as November. So he's completely frustrated that Iran has not collapsed. The second thing that he has been frustrated with is Iran's strategy of successfully blocking the Strait of Hormuz, which has spiked oil prices. They are hovering around $100, and there is a decline in supply. All the rich countries had to essentially release their strategic reserves into the market. $400 million of strategic reserve, barrels have been released. Of that, 40% by the United States, in order to ensure that the price of gas doesn't hit $120 because of lack of supply from the Gulf. So he's completely frustrated that Iran has blocked the Strait of Hormuz. But what is even more frustrating is that when he goes out and begs for help from allies, he's gone and asked 7 countries to help him create a coalition to essentially try and liberate the Strait of Hormuz from Iran's tight control. They have told him basically, buzz off, Trump. Take the road, Jack. That's all the song that everybody is singing. He was completely disappointed that NATO will not collaborate with him. First of all, he does not understand NATO is a defensive organization. If somebody attacks the United States, then yes, NATO will come to its aid as it did after 9/11. But if Donald Trump wants to go on an excursion, as he called it, if he wants to go and bomb another country for fun, as he called it, they're not going to join it. They're not going to put their citizens in harm's way. Donald Trump is okay. He doesn't care. We have Americans in America like Lindsey Graham who are willing to have Americans die for Israel. Ted Cruz thinks that the whole purpose of his being in the Senate is to protect Israel. Schumer, the Democrat, thinks that his main job is to ensure that the left is pro-Israel. So yes, Americans are stupid enough to be fighting and dying for Israel and spending billions and billions of dollars to establish Israeli hegemony in the Middle East. This is part of their religion of some Americans. This is what they're doing. I mean, Americans, when they act in support of Israel, they act like the Taliban, completely irrational and completely motivated by whatever their interpretation of their religion is, but not Europeans. So when the Europeans and the Japanese and the South Koreans and the Chinese simply refuse to help Donald Trump with straight up, he's completely frustrated. And you can see he's frustrated in the way he is reacting in a childlike fashion. Oh, I really didn't need them help. And we are the most powerful country. Well, if you're the most powerful country, why did you go around begging for help? So he says, oh, we're not seeking any help. I just wanted to know how they will react. Well, you could have done that. Your diplomats could just have had a meeting. Your ambassador could have met the foreign minister of France and whatever country, and in a conversation, you would know how they would react. So Donald Trump is frustrated with Iran for not surrendering right away. He's frustrated with NATO because they will not help him, and his other allies, Japan and South Korea, were basically showing no interest. Even Australia has decided not to help. Apparently, one of my viewers was commenting that the price has nearly doubled of gas in Australia right now. Donald Trump is completely frustrated. Now, the latest frustration of Donald Trump is with Israel, of all places. He does not have the guts. So, let me tell you what happened, and then I will show you Donald Trump's Truth Social post, and I will deconstruct that for you to show that when it comes to Israel, how careful he is and how submissive and subservient he is to Israel when he comments about it. He's like a servant, he's like a slave who does not have freedom to even opine. So Israel attacked a very important oil field called South Pars. South Pars is a part of, so there is a big oil field, the world's biggest oil field just north of Qatar. So you can see this pink and this purplish thing. This is the oil field that you see. It is just on the tip of Qatar. It is in the Persian Gulf. Iran, this is Iran's share of it, and they share it together. This is Qatar's share of the oil field. Apparently, it has some 1,800 trillion barrels or whatever tons of gas there, capable of supplying energy to the entire world for 11 years, according to some calculations. So, for 11 years, you could supply energy for the whole world from this particular field. So Iran uses South Pars mostly for domestic consumption, for generating electricity for its cars, etc. So it's very important. And for Qatar, this is a very, very big deal because this is the biggest export of Qatar. This is where all the revenue comes, etc. for Qatar. So this is an important part of for Qatar, etc. So Israelis bombed that place and damaged that, and it generated such a furious, absolutely furious reaction from Iran, that it retaliated not just against Qatar, but it retaliated against Qatar's gas field, but also across the region, including Saudi Arabia, including the capital of Saudi Arabia. The Iranians have very furiously attacked. And remember, this is the Iran whose navy has been completely destroyed, whose nuclear facilities has been completely obliterated by the United States. Everything has been destroyed, right? It was destroyed last week. In spite of that, Iran is now in a very brutal fashion targeted Qatar's oil reserves and the infrastructure. It's a place called Ras Laffan in Qatar. It has two refineries, etc. It is from where this Ras Laffan is the main center of Qatari exports. Nearly 20 to 25% of the world's gas comes from Ras Laffan in Qatar. And and the Iranians have lashed against it. So it was already closed from the 1st of March, I think, but now the infrastructure itself is destroyed and it will take a while for it to come back, and which means that the prices of natural gas will remain high up. They went up by 40 to 50%, will remain up there until this place is completely resolved, is able to load, and then that gas can then flow out through the Strait of Hormuz. So Iran basically has really frustrated Donald Trump, who thought he would just go destroy this weak Iran. He must have been listening not to his own. He's not listening to American intelligence agencies because they're not telling him what he wants to listen. He's listening to Israelis and Netanyahu, who's telling him whatever he wants, and he's doing whatever Netanyahu wants him to do. So, in frustration, Donald Trump then posted this tweet, and I want to read it out to you guys just to show what a kind of mindset. So, first of all, this tweet itself shows how frustrated Donald Trump is, but how careful he is. The first thing he says, Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, like lashed out, has violently lashed out at major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iraq. What has happened in the Middle East is Israel and America have attacked Iran and started a war they are unable to finish. So is Israel doing this out of frustration, or is it Israel's strategy to destroy Iran? That is what it is doing. And he says a relatively small section of the whole has been hit. Oh, it, just Israel went and just pinched Iran, as if these are nursery kids. A relatively small section of the whole has been hit. United States knew nothing about this particular attack. We are so dumb, we are stupid, we have no intelligence, we have no intelligence agencies, and even though there is 18 intelligence agencies from CIA to DIA, we spend hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't bother to listen to them. In fact, the White House said that Donald Trump has not met with his former National Counterterrorism Center's director, Joe Kent, for months. So apparently Donald Trump doesn't even listen to his intelligence. That's why he didn't know. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and the country of Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea that it was going to happen. Of course, the Qataris have no intelligence, naturally, otherwise they wouldn't have become a major partner of US and Israel in this whole business. There's a massive American base in Qatar. But anyway, apparently it is innocent in all of this. And then he says, unfortunately, Iran did not know this. Iran did not know what? That Qatar and the United States were not involved. Iran said from the very beginning that if you attack us, we will attack all your assets and your allies in the region. Did you not know that? Perhaps you didn't meet Tulsi Gabbard either. And of course, Marco Rubio and all, they will tell you what Israel wants you to say. If you packed your entire bloody administration with pro-Israelis who act as if they are Israel's agents rather than American citizens. Go and look at the interview that Mike Huckabee gave, and you did not even fire him. In fact, Mike Huckabee starts some of his speeches by saying, you might think I'm Israel's ambassador to America, and forget that I'm America's ambassador to Israel, because he knows that what he's doing is as if he's speaking for Israel and advocating for Israel rather than the United States. So if you pack your administration with like that, people who do not know what is in America's interest and who only know and care about Israel's interest, this is what is going to happen. Come to me, call me, I will tell you. If you can listen for 20 minutes, I will fix it for you. I will tell you what is America's first interest in the Middle East. You probably never even imagined it. And unfortunately, Iran did not know this. This is kind of one of those stupidest things. Then he goes on to say, and unjustifiably and unfairly attacked a portion of Qatar's LNG gas facility. No more attacks will be made by Israel. Really? Israel might just do this just to prove to the rest of the world that nobody listens to Donald Trump. By now, Donald Trump should have realized that he can America is a powerful country, and he has control of the American military and its economy, and he can try to bully the countries. But people are beginning to push back. I mean, look at the way Canada has reacted to the United States. It did not bow. Trump thought he would bow. Even Trump has stopped talking about Canada as the 51st state because he's realized that, oh my God, Canada is building an alternative Western alliance without the United States. We'll see. No more attacks will be made by Israel pertaining to this extremely important and valuable South Pars field unless Iran wisely decides to attack a very innocent, in this case, Qatar, in which instance the United States of America, with or without the help or consent of Israel, with or without consent. So are you going to seek consent of Israel, Mr. Donald Trump? Will you send a memo to your boss and request permission to act? He's saying that even if Israel doesn't give me permission, I will attack Iran. Really? I mean, how dumb does he think the MAGA people are? He must be thinking that his entire support base is mentally retarded to believe this bullshit of his. I find it absolutely fascinating. I do not want to authorize this level of violence and destruction because the long-term implication that it will have on the future of Iran. But if Qatar's LNG is again attacked, I will not hesitate to do so. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Look, You have already attacked with everything. What's left? Dropping nuclear weapons on Iran? Are you going to do that? Unimagined extension. First of all, we don't need to. We have already know what nuclear weapons can do. The U.S. is the only country in the world which used nuclear weapons on in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan, killed close to 200,000 civilians. We know, so we can imagine even what a nuclear weapon can do. So there's no such thing as unimagined power, etc. Rubbish. All of this shows that he's absolutely frustrated and unable. Donald Trump is completely frustrated and unable to control the war that he started. Donald Trump does not have the power to control Israel, but the American president has. An American president can simply tell Israel, you cannot do this. If you do this, we will sanction you. We will cut off military aid to you. We will isolate you internationally. And we will come after your nuclear weapons the way we have gone after Iran's nuclear weapons. We can make Israel a pariah state like this. In fact, if the world knows that America is not standing with Israel, it will be done. That's enough. So the American president has a lot of power when it comes to Israel. It's a different thing that they do not use it because they are so dependent on what? It is on the Israeli lobby, as Joe Kent said, taking millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars for elections. Look at the election that we had day before yesterday in Chicago. The Israeli lobby, the APAC, is bragging that it won. Two of his candidates won, and two of those who were opposed to it defeated. Go and look at APAC's tweet. And then to say that if you say that such a thing as an Israeli lobby or anti-Semitic or whatever, that word has lost its meaning completely. I mean, today, if you oppose a genocide, you become anti-Semitic, which means being non-anti-Semitic means being okay with a genocide and a war of aggression. And this war of Iran was initiated when a negotiated deal was about to happen. This is a war entirely of choice. I can understand why Israel did it. It is now going to establish at the end of this war a complete hegemony. Netanyahu will say jump, and all the Arab countries in the middle will say how high. Maybe they'll first jump and then say, is that okay, or should we jump higher? And they realize now that America, for whom they spend billions of dollars sucking up to America and trying to get American aid and American security, is not there to protect you. None of these countries have seen the US military in action trying to protect them from Iran. The only place where Americans are there and trying to protect is Israel. What is also interesting is that it's only in the context of Qatar, which gave Donald Trump a jet of what, $500 million worth of jet for him, and then also promised to invest $2 trillion. I don't think they're going to invest anything. They'll have to invest all of that in their own countries to try and get back to the place they are. They're not going to be the same. One more thing that is going to happen at the end of this war is most countries. In fact, I had a very interesting conversation yesterday with a former Indian ambassador to Saudi Arabia and Yemen. Most countries who are today buying oil from the Gulf are going to diversify. They're going to reduce their dependence on oil that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. These Arab countries may have to spend billions of dollars developing pipelines to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. That is going to take years, and there's going to take a huge amount of investments. So these Arab countries, the so-called Abraham Accord countries, it was supposed to bring them security and prosperity. It has just brought war and destruction to them. Are going to come out the biggest losers at the end of this war. Anyway, but the most fun part for me is that Donald Trump is totally, totally frustrated. He's America first. He has even forgotten what he wanted to do. He was going to bring manufacturing jobs to the United States. Does he even remember that? That he was going to bring manufacturing jobs. What happened to that? That is over. In fact, the Supreme Court has ended the biggest and the most important pillar of his foreign policy, which is tariffs. Notice how he now does not talk about tariffs. It's gone. He's not threatening NATO countries by saying, I will increase the tariff by 5%, 10% if you don't support me in the Strait of Hormuz, because he can't use that weapon anymore. The State Department has neutered him. The Supreme Court has completely neutered him on this issue. And now he has this 301 that he's using. He can use it only for 150 days. We will see what happens going forward. It's a different thing that he might still bully countries and try to force them into getting agreements and get those tariffs via agreement. But even those countries are visiting, like India did not sign up, and India has decided to delay the signing of the agreement. So India is going to escape. But the other countries that have signed up, they must be revisiting these contracts with the United States. Donald Trump's foreign policy is now in shambles. He's taken a very powerful country and made a mockery of it. Donald Trump has become the laughing stock of the world. I was watching, and people are having a lot of fun at his expense. I was watching an AI generated movie in which Donald Trump is calling leader after leader at the behest of Netanyahu, who is ordering him, now call Zelensky, now call this fellow, now call that fellow. And Trump is calling them and asking them for help with the Strait of Hormuz. Notice he has never asked Israel to help him with the Strait of Hormuz. But and everyone is saying no, 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 and laughing. And the clincher is with Zelensky, who says, "Oh, Mr. President, now I hold all the cards and you have no cards," and ends the show with a laugh. So Donald Trump has becoming the laughing stock of the world. But the MAGA crowd are still supporting him. It's unbelievable how stupid they are. He promised them no more wars. They still support him. He promised repeatedly that he would release the Epstein files. He did not release. He's still hiding much of it. Anyway, thank you for watching Conversations. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share it with your socio-political network. Until next time, I'm your host, Muqtadar Khan. And now, if there are any questions or comments, I'll be happy to address them. Uh, this is a good question. Farisha, yes, if you remember, after Trump's visit to the Middle East, he came back and said that, first he said Saudi Arabia and Qatar, etc., are going to invest about $2 trillion in America. And then he said $7 trillion, or sometimes he said $5 trillion. I don't think any investment has come in so far. I mean, there are no jobs. You can hear the reports from the job market at all. So from that point of view, you can clearly see that after this war, I mean, how profoundly helpless and stupid the Arab foreign policies are that they cannot recognize that they chose to have American bases in their countries so that they will be safe. In fact, those bases now have become magnets for action. They are being attacked because they have American bases, not the other way around. Even after this war, I bet you those bases will remain and they'll keep sucking up to America because they are not vital societies. They can't do anything for themselves. They just have oil that is being dug out by foreign companies and selling, and they're just enjoying life based on the money that they get from selling these things. There's nothing else comes out of these countries. They are rent collectors who are paying to the mafia don for protection. That's how you should understand this whole relationship. And unfortunately for them, there are two bosses now, and they have to pay both the bosses. Ravinder, Sat Sri Akal to you too. Where are you from? Oh, yes, the US is going to make a lot of money because now even India might want to buy gas and oil. India has to. It has promised to buy $500 billion worth of stuff in the next 3 years, I think, or 5 years. And so, yeah, India will probably increase. If the war continues, if all the facilities are destroyed, imagine this happens for 6 more months. And then it's going to be terrible. Iran could completely become like Iraq with lots of remnants of IRGC going around as ISIS 2.0, ISIS 3.0, and stuff like that. They will go around and cause havoc in the region, and so tourism will definitely go down, uh, and and we'll see what happens with the oil and gas industry, whether it comes back up, reboots very quickly or not. India is not among 3 and not among 13. I don't know what he's talking about. 13 or 13 में नहीं है. Yeah, in terms of like Donald Trump did not ask America for help, India for help at all, which is quite curious, isn't it? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. And I will keep coming back again in the evening tonight, and I'll do an analysis of the state of the war in Hindi and Urdu. And so please come back to watch. There are some other developments in India, and also I want to cover the election results in Chicago, which has some interesting implications for domestic politics in the US as well as for India indirectly. So we'll talk about that. Take care. Bye.